Guys, I've got news. Are you sitting down? Are you ready for this? Because, like, I don't know how we're going to all live after the announcement that it looks like Kayli Mills as Keqing and Corinna Boettger as Paimon, they might be gone officially. Yeah, so actually this is amazing news. We just can't stop winning, guys. Check it out. New Paimon English voice in 5.7. Someone even saying, is this real? The OP says, yep, this is from 5.7 pre-download. So yeah, apparently this is not even from a leak or anything like that. This is actually from the pre-download. And so people all over are celebrating. Our Genshin Impact top post here from just an hour ago saying, we are so back. Everyone, even Paimon fans like me, are cheering in the streets. I actually liked her voice for Paimon, and even I'm cheering. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Witch, old witch, the wicked witch. Freaking dude. Imagine like Corina just reading this stuff. Freedom. This also means everyone's potentially on the chopping block. Keqing. Yep, more on that coming right up about Keqing. Albedo, anyone. This was a message. If they're willing to recast the character with the most voice lines in the entire game, as far as I know, no one's safe. Keqing is already confirmed to have been replaced. Of course, not officially, though. Yeah, that one seems to come from a leak, so that one isn't as certain, but I mean, it's still looking pretty dang. It's looking pretty dang good out there, guys. But on the topic of Corina getting replaced as Paimon, Madame Savvy brings up a really good point here. She says, if this is real, Corina is an even bigger loser than we thought. Hoyo isn't going to have a new VA and voices ready to go in 16 days, which was about the time frame when Corina said she was stepping away. They would have had this ready to go, meaning they fired her before that. The only caveat to this, though, is the interview was about 16 days ago, but Corina said that she gave notice to Hoyoverse right around the time that Jacob Takanashi replaced John Patnode as Kenichi, at least according to my recollection. She said, like, yeah, after that, she gave notice to Hoyoverse, I think. So this would have been more like 2.5 months, give or take. But of course, that doesn't mean that Corina's telling the truth either. Keeping that in mind, let's finish the tweet. Eat rotten cabbage, Corina. May you never work again, you toxic entitled bully of a pelican. Well, that's a unique way of I don't even know. Yeah. The point is, after Corina's interview on Paper Bag Boy's channel, I was pointing out how I'm very skeptical of what she's saying to be true in regards to how she said essentially that she wouldn't return as Paimon unless Hoyo signs a union agreement, and that this could have looked more like her trying to make it seem like she willingly stepped away when they may have actually just replaced her. Now, of course, my opinion is not a unique one. I think most people were skeptical of what Corina had said, because this is someone who seems to have been caught many times in the past lying about things and just being like generally dishonest and manipulative, people would say. So this was probably just another case of her doing such things. And in the context of her doing this, it looked like basically like one final attempt at virtue signaling as well, because she was already getting called out for being a hypocrite, accusing people of being scabs and getting all mad at them while also apparently being a scab. So this was her potentially trying to look like less of a scab, basically being like, I only worked some of the time during all those months and I already stepped away, so I wasn't scabbing the whole time. You know, trying to like kind of virtue signal to people and make herself look better to the SAG clique or something, maybe. And also, she took the opportunity to also disparage Hoyoverse, accusing them of not paying her on time and a number of other things that many people are also skeptical about because, well, one, it's coming from Corina, but two, there's been times in the past where Hoyoverse had seemingly helped her out with payment issues and even helped her find a new agency. So for her to show no gratitude towards Hoyo and instead just try and smear them and attack them again, this gave further merit to the theories that, yeah, she might just be retaliating as Hoyoverse because she's all petty and mad about getting fired. And if she did get fired, of course, this would only be the consequences of her own actions. It's just because of what she did. But this clique of VAs, they are not known for accountability. They're known for lacking accountability and always trying to play victim whenever they can. So yeah, that's the Paimon VA stuff with Corina. But now how about the Keqing VA stuff with Kayli Mills? Well, people are saying she allegedly got replaced because in these leaks, we can see it says Kayli Mills and Anonymous. 12 hours ago, this top comment saying everyone rejoiced. Now we just need Paimon VA recasted. And of course, since then already, we have the news that we just went over. It looks like Paimon VA may indeed be recast. Response reads, yeah, Paimon will likely be harder to recast since she's a frequenter unlike Keqing, who really only appears like every other lantern right nowadays. And I can't even imagine them doing that, honestly. Paimon is like 90% of the game's dialogue, and to replace all her lines would be a Herculean task that I can't imagine would be worth the time nor effort unless her VA, I don't know, got charged with a serious crime. It's really funny looking at this stuff now that we have the new news that just happened so shortly after all this. Some of the responses to that one read, to be honest, they didn't always bother in the past. Sometimes they just say voices changed from now on, we will do older patches later, and they don't have to replace old lines for a recast. Many games recast actors without changing their character's old voice lines. So, if the Paimon stuff is true, which it seems most likely to be, we'll find out in, I guess, just a few days when the new patch is all updated and rolls out and all that, if all the lines that Paimon had got changed, or if it's just going to be a thing for the future lines. I suppose the same speculation could also apply to Keqing, albeit to a much lesser extent, of course, given the amount of total lines for each of those characters in comparison. But there's also other context to factor in. For example, the amount of time Hoyo may have had to have a new VA redo the lines if they want them redone and all that. The point I'm getting at is, don't know the exact timeline of events, and we're just kind of all piecing it together in real time right now. We'll read a few more comments here. Oh dang, this is why she has been so salty lately. I wonder if we'll see others get recast like Sucrose and Candace this patch or 5.8. Yeah, Sucrose VA has also acted all crazy on social media, even way before the Jacob Takanashi stuff, for the record. It's like multiple times where she's been on social media just attacking people and getting mad at Genshin fans. Still, it seems more uncertain if Sucrose will actually get recast, but Candace and Shara Kirby, I mean, she had said on her own Blue Sky account, F Hoyoverse, and for Hoyo to just recast her too. She went on to say a lot more than that too. This was like a 4-page thing, or like 4-part thing that she went off like screaming about, insulting Hoyoverse fans and everything, you know, just acting like a complete lunatic. So we'll have to wait and see if she actually sticks by what she said there. Of course, if Candace actually has a new VA and Cher gets replaced, this could mean that she still cowardly didn't step down like she said she would, and instead Hoyo stepped in and replaced her, which would be freaking hilarious. Basically, like, kind of what happened to Paimon here. Like, imagine if both freaking Shara and Corinna tried to act like they willingly stepped down and acting all, like, superior and smug about it, but in reality they never did, and Hoyoverse just freaking replaced them. The bonus comedy here really quick is Shara Kirby also got this response from this person, Brittany, and if I recall, Shara Kirby reposted this on her account, seemingly agreeing with this take then. And this person said, in response to Shara Kirby's now infamous weirdo freakazoid rant that she recently got criticized for a lot, but this person, Brittany, quotes Shara Kirby's rant and says, the comments she's getting that are tone policing her are rooted in racism. And if you're mad that Genshin hasn't had voice acting, maybe you should tell Hoyo to sign the dang interim agreement. This person went on a lot more, and I talked about it in a prior video. I'm not going to go read the rest, but the point is, these people really tried to say that anyone criticizing Shara Kirby's crash out is just being racist. Like, one of the most pathetic defenses they possibly could have used, and that's the one that they went with. It's just like when that person, Days, basically tried to say that anyone criticizing Corinna is just doing it out of transphobia. They're just transphobes. And that actually got reposted by Corinna. It's pretty telling that these people only ever use their identities as shields against reasonable criticism that they get. But of course, like we said earlier, these people never have any accountability, and they also certainly don't have any self-awareness to realize that using their identity like this, it just makes them look worse to everybody. Well, except for the few dozen blue skyers these VAs get that constantly defend them, but you guys know what I mean. One final thing to mention about Keqing's VA potentially getting replaced, Kayli Mills potentially being replaced, where it said Kayli Mills and Anonymous, like we discussed earlier. There's this comment that says Anonymous equals AI, trying to make it sound like, or at the very least speculating that she's getting replaced by AI. This, of course, doesn't mean she's getting replaced by AI, though. A lot of VAs actually do choose to remain anonymous And in these conditions where a VA in the clique is getting replaced, it could mean that the VA is wanting to remain anonymous specifically because they don't want to get harassed by the clique, potentially have them trying to blacklist her and ruin her career, you know, anything like that. Now, on a more wholesome note, statement from English voice actors of Aether and Lumine. We've got Sarah Miller-Cruz here saying, I can't wait to continue the adventure. I've missed Lumine so much. I'm excited that we'll be back in Teyvat soon. Zach Aguilar saying, I'm coming back to voice Aether in Genshin Impact. Not going to be in 5.7 due to timing. Thank you, Hoyo, and the entire team. Aether means the world to me. It's been a blessing working on the game these past 5 years, and I'm thrilled to... It gets cut off. Let's go to the actual tweet. It says he's thrilled to continue and love you guys. Now, I had mentioned before that to me, Zach is one of the very few good VAs out there, so I wished him the best in being able to come back to Genshin and all that, so I'm glad he's been able to return. I don't know anything about Sarah, but I have seen a lot of people vouching for Sarah, so overall, yeah, it seems to be a good development. Oh, I also saw some people saying that Erica, VA for Venti, was also returning very soon, so that is also great news. We know that Erica has done the most in speaking out against the Union and standing up against the Union and the clique, so of course, all the best to Erica as well. But all that said, I've long known how corrupt the English voice acting industry is. I've talked about it for years before the Jacob Takanashi stuff even occurred. And I know a lot of people are also aware of this stuff. Point being, the industry is still massively corrupt and there are still so many scumbag VAs out there, English VAs I'm talking about specifically, of course. So we'll have to see how things continue to develop. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. And let me also make one last disclaimer here. I feel like I'm all better. I'm not sick anymore, but it's definitely in my throat. So yeah, sorry for my voice sounding kind of weird. Like, it feels like I'm like losing my voice. So yeah, I kind of rushed this video a little bit. I think I could have done better on it, but I've only got so much like capacity to even speak right now, I think. So sorry about that. But yeah, I mean, like, it's not all bad. I feel fine aside from that. Just little voice issue. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, consider letting me know what you think in the comments. Consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed the coverage. Appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one.